territory where Carlos Bulosan once lived to tell the story of the rain, sweat, glory of Mike Jackson men who fight the destination we were destined to end. Left a writing on the wall in the halls of the Nippon Khan. Others transformed, majority Decepticons. But my
All right, it's episode 20 of the Wait for It Seattle podcast. There are a couple house cleaning things. By the way, the first thing is you probably just heard a song because I'm inserting our
Hey,
intro song. That was North by Northwest by the Blue Scholars.
one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's been my ringtone. Oh, no, wait. I have a different Blue Scholars ringtone. It was my ringtone for a long time. It's no longer my ringtone, but we got intro music
Have you ever seen the Blue Scholars live?
multiple times.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
They're a great show. Really good. I saw them at the
Yeah.
Showbox. I would say that the sad part about doing the podcast is I don't actually get to hear the intro music.
Well, you have to listen to it. It's a way to get you
That's
to
true.
listen.
Yeah, I don't actually listen to us that much. So I also learned recently, spending the weekend with my mom and my sister, as my dad was dealing with a little stuff, but he's all right. But I was spending time with my mom, and my sister goes, "Mom, do you listen to the podcast?" She was like, "Well," she's like, "That's your son. You got to listen." She's like, "I read the Substack." I'm like, "Let's go."
That
Sister
is
doesn't read.
hilarious.
She listens.
Yeah.
So my sister will be listening to this tomorrow. This will be
Yeah,
great.
that's great.
Yep, among many.
Yeah. Which brings me to my second point.
Yep.
We have people have approached us in public to say that they listen to this podcast. I'm
True.
really interested to know if you listen to this if you have not communicated to me or
Yep.
Brian that you listen to this podcast, because ultimately we're here to please your ears. That didn't sound right when I thought of it. But
We're
yes,
here to entertain, and to,
yeah.
I mean, mostly ourselves, but also others.
Yeah. So let us know. That's just my plea. So
Yeah, I
if
agree with you.
Yeah,
Like,
that'd
it's
it'd
nice
just be
to
nice
know.
to know. Like
Yeah.
70 people download our podcast pretty consistently. Maybe I should just lie and say 150. But yeah, so it'd just be cool to know who listens to this thing.
Yeah, I agree. And it's our Gary Payton episode.
Yeah, number 20.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of any other famous 20s, but yeah, Gary Payton is probably.
Well, fun fact, I'm
famous.
pretty sure I have this right. Quentin Daly, I think was his name, was wearing number 20. So Gary Payton wore number 2 his rookie year at Seattle.
I think Quincy Pondexter wore
another
number 20 at
Yeah.
UW.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
An underrated
Paul
Husky
Arnold.
basketball great. Oh,
Paul Arnold, a high school legend in
Kennedy,
Seattle.
JFK.
Well, a day before that.
Oh, he went to both.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting.
I think he's coaching right now.
Yeah, where is he coaching?
He's a high school coach somewhere in Seattle. But Paul Arnold, shout out. Are you listening, Paul Arnold?
Yeah.
Send us a line. You're a legend.
So we're going to keep this, we got kind of out of control last week. We went an hour and a half.
Yeah, we're going to keep it tight. We're going to keep it tight.
We're going to ask each other questions. Just down to the basics of sports conversation podcasting.
Yep.
So
we're just going to go back and forth with questions because I had a question to you and I really would like to hear your answer. So this is what made me think of it. And then Twitter brought some questions. So as I'm watching the Huskies, are they 4-4 or 4-5, Kev?
4-4.
Okay, well, it's a little better than I thought. So they're 4-4, Husky football. Another disappointing in a different way than Iowa, but disappointing loss.
Yes.
4 Big Ten road games where they've outgained their opponents and not won the game. So, there's something good, but not good enough, And I thought, well, is that coaching? What is it, So I think I've been clear since the start. I'm not a huge Jedd Fisch guy.
Yeah.
So far, but I'm not anti-Jedd Fisch. I want to be clear. I don't have an issue with him. I'm not mad at him for, I don't have any particular concern other than I just don't know if he's good.
Yeah.
So that's my question. If you took the 18 Big Ten teams and you don't even have to, you probably do know all the names of the coaches. Where would you put Jedd Fisch in those 18? So is it easier to start with the top or the bottom?
I think it's easier to start at the top. So I actually pulled up.
I was going to go the other way.
someone in July in CBS Sports ranked the Big Ten coaches
Okay.
1 through 18. So I
Perfect.
have the list in front of me.
Okay.
Um, and maybe we can just get over like who's he better than? Like I think
Well,
that
that's what
like
I was going to go the other way.
yeah,
Like, who is
like
he
yeah.
absolutely better
Okay,
than?
so like let's get this out of the way. Deshaun Foster, UCLA, he's doing a better job than him.
Agreed.
Ryan Walters doing a better job than him.
Who's that person?
Purdue.
Oh, okay. Wait,
David
isn't
Braun.
Gene Katie the coach of Purdue? No. Oh, okay.
David Braun at Northwestern probably doing a better
Yeah,
job than him.
absolutely. They beat
Yeah,
them. We're out.
yeah. And
Oh,
then after that, dude,
now we got to make some calls.
now we got to make some calls,
Can
right?
we go the
So,
other way? Let's say who is absolutely better than Jedd Fisch,
all
or who would
right,
I take? Right.
yeah,
So Ryan Day, Ohio State.
yeah. Although he can't beat Michigan, so
I'm taking
yeah,
him as my coach.
yeah. Dan Lanning, definitely better, number one team in the
Yeah.
country.
What if Jedd Fisch beats him this year and they win again?
Yeah,
No, I'll take Dan Lanning.
yeah,
You know what?
yeah.
I won't actually. I won't take Dan Lanning, but it's not because he's not a better coach. I don't like him.
Someone posted a really cool hypothetical. I saw it in the comments section of the John Canzano blog. Um, some actually not in comment section. It was in like his mailbag, and someone asked him, uh, "Will Oregon? Could Oregon conceivably just sit its players against UW to
Mm.
preserve itself for the Big Ten championship and then the subsequent playoff run?" And the answer is no. And there's a multitude of reasons why they want to go full throttle against UW. Playoff seeding is one.
It's a
Um,
good question though.
but like the other thing was Dan Lanning is 0-3 against the
Yeah,
Huskies.
he's not going to
You know,
want to do it.
he does not, and it's a recruiting thing too. Like you want to win that game. It's a
Yeah,
Washington, right? So I thought that was a really interesting question.
I'm taking I'm taking Kurt Siggs from
Yeah.
Indiana over him for sure.
Yep.
I'm taking
James Franklin at Penn State.
absolutely. I'm taking
Yep.
him. I'm taking Kirk Ferentz at Iowa, even though I would never want to watch a game.
Yep.
I'm taking Matt Rule in Nebraska.
Yep.
I'm taking Bielema, Illinois.
Yep.
I'm taking Greg Schiano at Rutgers.
He's interesting. I
Yeah.
think he's maybe in the maybe bucket for me.
All right.
PJ Fleck at Minnesota. I think he's
I
doing
think
a
PJ
good
Fleck's
job.
super cool.
Yeah, he's
From
doing
a
great.
coaching nerd standpoint,
Yeah.
I think he's fascinating. Here's one that I'm not sure about. Lincoln Riley.
Yeah. That is a really interesting one. And I wrote in my power rankings like, is his seat hot?
His
Jen
seat's
Cohen,
gotta be hot.
Jen Cohen fired Jimmy Lake after 13 games. Lincoln Riley is well past that. He's definitely not met expectations.
No.
And it's not a Jedd Fisch thing where his roster got decimated. He's had control of the roster for three
Yep.
years. He's had a Heisman winner.
Yep.
Um, they're winning recruiting battles. Kids are going to USC, so it's
You're always
not,
gonna get kids at USC.
yeah,
He has no excuse for recruiting.
yeah.
Matt
Last
Rule has
year,
an excuse. You're at Nebraska. You can make the
yeah,
argument like it's really hard to get kids here.
yeah. Well,
USC kids want to go even if you're the worst coach in America.
he's kind of like in between like 7 wins Sark and Kalen DeBoer.
Lincoln Riley.
Yeah, I feel like he's above average, but he's
I
not
don't think you can put
great.
him these last 3 years. Don't put him anywhere near Kellen DeBoer
Yeah.
for me. Like he was good at Oklahoma and he has been a disaster there.
Yep.
So Fish is somewhere in the.
Like Sharon Moore is interesting too. He's
I
another
take
guy.
Fish. I'm not into Sharon Moore.
Yeah, it seems like he's very stubborn, and that comes from Harbaugh. Harbaugh
He
can
just
be,
wants to be
yeah,
Harbaugh. I don't like
yeah,
that. You know,
yeah,
I'll give Fish credit. Like he's doing something different. He's not trying to be Kellen DeBoer. I know it's different because he didn't coach with
yeah,
him. But he's not trying to be Bill Belichick either, and he coached with him. He's Jedd Fisch for sure. Just turns out
yeah.
that might not be very good.
So this puts Jedd Fisch around like the half meet. Like he's not near the top.
Yeah.
He's more near the bottom, but kind of like in the middle. Um,
Yeah. What saves it for me, what puts him in the middle is we'll see the transfer portal, but his recruiting class, right? He's already jumped in and started recruiting well. So I'd put him in the
Yeah.
middle versus like Jonathan Smith at Michigan State. I'm not
Yeah.
sure how great his recruiting class is going to be. So
Yeah, but to think of that, he's got like this 18th ranked class, and they did all that work in the spring and the summer and the fall to put together this 2025 class. Although some guys may be flipping.
yeah.
Watch out, Oregon, right?
Mm.
But yeah, that's a really interesting. That's a good question.
I mean, the thing
Um,
with college football, right? As we move on, is the portal. I mean, it's
yeah.
cool that Jedd Fisch has a great class, but he's gonna have to hit the portal still.
Yep. And I think
Um,
that's why and I said this earlier in a earlier podcast episode that like some people say 3 years. I think it's 2 years. Like you gotta
mm,
just prove that you can load up, right? If you want to compete, you gotta load up. Um, find the skill position guys. That's what Signetti did. Although Fish did it, at a disadvantage, right? By the time he came in as a head coach, um, most of the portal guys have already committed to different places, right?
yeah.
So it was really tough for him.
Well,
Uh,
again, we said this on another one, but if he was able to get some of those Arizona guys, maybe it's different.
yeah,
Because Signetti brought, I think I heard on the pregame, like
yeah,
12 guys from James Madison, maybe
yeah.
more.
And is that a
Um,
concern that these guys didn't follow him in the coaching staff? I
yeah,
don't
that's a good
know.
point. I don't
And
know.
then this is the last point is you can't build an offensive line through the portal. It's really hard to do that.
Yeah, I thought they would. I mean, isn't one of the guys at Ohio State dude? Like there's just
Yeah, but they don't have experience. Like
yeah, it's
it's
brutal.
it's tough.
Although it's better than the
So,
Seahawks offensive line. So
which brings me to my question for
yep,
you. I don't know how much of the Seahawks game you watched. If you
I
turned it
watched
off at
I
one
watched
point,
almost all of it.
you did that to yourself.
I did.
Uh, um, what was more frustrating to you? The Geno Smith trip over the offensive lineman or the snap that went 20 yards behind Geno Smith?
That's a good question. My immediate reaction was the snap, but then the stepping on the foot on a fourth down play
Yeah.
is almost more infuriating because it feels, I mean, they both feel like,
Luke's.
no, I was gonna say they feel like junior football, like your 8-year-old football. Like,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
I
Um,
want Tom Brady to just rip into like I think he's afraid
Tom
to
Brady only
criticize.
ripped into Ryan Grubb. I saw something on Twitter. He was ripping and that they were in shotgun the whole time, and that was part of their problem. Tom Brady
Interesting.
also sucks as an announcer, and that's not their problem, Tom. Their problem was the Bills are really good, and they snapped the ball 30 yards over the head of their quarterback at the 3-yard line, and then on fourth and goal, their guard stepped on the quarterback's foot. Because if they score there, it's a whatever. We're up 17-14 on those two possessions, and you have to do that against a good team.
I actually do agree with you. I mean, the margin for error against a team like the Bills is very low. So if you F up and you can't score a touchdown when a
Yep.
touchdown seems guaranteed, they're just going to make you pay for it. And they did. The Bills did every single time.
And the weird thing is the Seahawks get blown out worse than the Lions and Niners game, but I actually felt like the Seahawks had a better chance in this game. They were just doing dumb stuff. And then they
Yeah.
imploded. And this is problematic. They look like the Huskies against Rutgers. They just
Yeah.
imploded. Geno's throwing the ball off guys' heads and getting penalties. They're doing dumb stuff all over the place. I mean, Geno looked like he was crying on the bench, which I'm all for crying, but not in the middle of a football game, Geno. Like, go cry when you go home and you watch like The Notebook, buddy. That's fine. Let it out. Don't cry
Uh,
in the middle of a series because you threw another interception that is everybody else's fault or bad luck.
yeah.
I'm mad at all the Seahawks right now. I'm mad
Do you
at the
think
entire team.
you think it's a coaching, like this is just like, there's just, is this more of a coaching thing? Is this more of like an entire team thing? Just like they're just, it's We're almost at the halfway point.
They're perfectly mediocre, which was
Yeah.
going to be my theme for this week is
Yeah.
Seattle sports are mediocre.
Yeah.
Sadly, like the Storm were just over mediocre. The Mariners are mediocre. The Rain are definitely below mediocre.
Like they're
The
mid. Isn't that what
They're mid. Yeah. I mean,
that's what
the
people say?
Seahawks are. They're in first place, but they're 4-4, right? The Huskies are 4-4. Like Seattle sports are mid. And
Yeah.
it's better than 2008 when everybody was awful. That
Yeah.
sucks. Because the Seahawks could still be fine. They're not going to win the Super Bowl, which is my question to you based on who said this on Twitter, Kev. We got to give credit. This is a good one. Um, let's see. Colby Patnode, who's a Mariners Twitter person.
Some hot takes.
We're going to turn it into a question.
Yeah.
Who who is closer to winning a championship? The Seahawks with the Super Bowl or the Mariners in the World Series?
Oh, you know, the Seahawks issue. This is going to be my thesis of the day. Uh, the Seahawks won't win a Super Bowl so long as John Schneider is the GM because John Schneider has a philosophy that he does not want to spend money on offensive linemen.
Mm,
And this has not been an issue for just like the last year. It's been like an issue for like a decade since they
yeah.
won the Super Bowl. Like the offensive line has always been bad.
Yep.
So at some point that needs to be fixed. So I think that that's my thing about the Seahawks.
This is recency bias.
Yeah.
A month ago, John Stanton was the problem, and the Mariners were never winning the World Series. But now it's John Schneider. That's what we're going
Okay,
with.
okay. So that's point one. That is still my thing about the Mariners. So long as they don't spend money or a sufficient amount of money, they will never be in the World Series. Like it's just too
Yeah, but did
hard.
you see what I sent you today? The Scrooge Index.
Yeah.
You didn't look at my text,
No,
did
but
you?
where are they ranked on the Scrooge Index? So
Okay,
the
the
Scrooge
Scrooge
Index.
Index was very interesting. A Scrooge
Yeah.
Index was basically you take the revenue brought in by franchises and look at their payroll. So the least Scroogey owner is Steve Cohen. I think that's his name, the Mets owner. He spends more on payroll this year than he brings in revenue, which is
Crazy.
incredible. Nobody
Yeah.
else is close, right? The
Yeah.
second best is the Dodgers, and it's 67%. So, which means they're 33% revenue over spending. That
Yeah.
doesn't account for GM spending and manager. I don't think. I think it's just salaries of players, right? So the Mariners were 11th worst, which means they're in the middle third tier. I mean, they're bottom of it, right? So they're
Yeah.
bottom third of the league, but they're not bottom five. The Red Sox are. The Red Sox fans have a reason to be pissed, and they are. They
Yeah.
make all kinds of money and they're not spending.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not saying the Mariners shouldn't spend more, and I'm not saying that I'm not frustrated. Uh, it's just not as bad as people think. In the same way that John Schneider is not as bad a GM as people are saying today because his offensive line sucks. John Schneider's a really good GM,
Okay. All right. So
but
we
that doesn't
disagree.
answer the
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
My
What's
answer
the
is still the Mariners
you think the Mariners are going to
because
win
of
the
their
World
pitching
Series? Yep.
and Julio Rodriguez, who had a down year,
Yeah.
and the flukiness of baseball.
Yeah. So I really think it's if the Mariners win a World Series, it's going to be within 4 to 5 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
based on
Yeah. Club
construction.
control. Yeah.
And do you really look at the Seahawks and be like, yeah, they're going to win the Super Bowl in 4 to 5 years? I
Absolutely
mean,
not.
not. And Gino is as good as Gino can be. Gino's not winning the Super Bowl. Sam Howell's not winning the Super Bowl.
Yep.
That offensive line, to your point, with Charles Cross even and Abe Lucas back, it's not winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That defense isn't even close to winning the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And the Mariners are not even in the playoffs, which is funny about it. But everybody who was a Major League Baseball writer this year said if they got in the playoffs, that pitching is scary.
Yep.
And the Diamondbacks went to the World Series last year. This is a fluke year where it's the Yankees and Dodgers, but so many years. I mean, the Rays were in the World Series. I mean, you can go.
Yeah.
I'm not predicting the Mariners to win the World Series, but I would say they're closer. So there you go. I think they're closer.
I got a question for you,
Yep.
Seahawks related.
Love it.
Same thing we did with Fish. How about Mike McDonald right now?
Yeah.
So just for our listeners, I pulled up the NFC West coaches, and these are their records before this year. And I'll tell you how long they've been in their positions. We got Sean McVay for the Rams. He's 70 and 45. He's in
Hmm.
year 8. Kyle Shanahan, year 8, 64 to 51. Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals. He's in year 2. He was 4 and 13 last season.
Yep.
And then Mike McDonald, of course, is
Four and
going.
four.
He's a 4 and 4 going into
Yep.
this year. But the other records I gave you without, I just have them from before the start of the year.
You don't
So,
even need to give me the records. I mean,
yeah.
Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan are absolutely my hires before Mike McDonald. But I think
So who do
any
you have higher, Shanahan or McVay?
McVay for me. I'm a McVay like fanboy.
Yeah.
Maybe because he tooled Pete Carroll so much. I just think he's so innovative and smart. And Shanahan is too. Shanahan just bothers me a little bit more. Maybe it's the Niners. He just seems kind of pompous, and I don't know. McVay, I just think he's awesome. Shanahan's really, really good. He kicks the Seahawks butt.
Yeah.
But so does McVay, which makes me worried for this week. The Seahawks are 4-4, tied with the Cardinals at 4-4, and the Niners are now right. They won their 4-4, and then the Rams are 3-4, and the Seahawks next week could be in last place. They lose
From
to the Rams,
first to
right?
last.
They lose to the
Yeah.
Rams. The Rams are ahead of them. It's not good. So they got to win again. It's another must win, like it was with the Falcons. This was not the must win. The Bills, the Rams is the must win.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to be. This is what worries me about McDonald. To your point about coaching, I was like, well, he seems like he's just the kind of guy who's going to get. I wrote about this early in the year. He's pissed. He'll get back in the lab. Blah blah blah. I don't. I haven't seen that so far. I mean, the Falcons, maybe that's true after the Thursday night game, but I thought after the Giants, they'd come back and fix some things and look better. And they didn't really look better against the Niners. Granted, it was the Niners. The Falcons, they won, but they didn't. Bijan Robins had 100 yards rushing. They haven't fixed anything when it comes to the run defense. And he's supposed to be a defensive guru. And so that's the kind of stuff that all of a sudden, long term, I'm just thinking, I hope so. I mean, Shanahan wasn't good for a few years in San Francisco as they were building talent, so maybe that's what he needs. But James Cook ran for 111 yards and 17 carries today. That's embarrassing. They got to be better.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got to be better. I do have a question for you. I got a
Okay,
question
so
for you.
I have one more for after you,
Okay.
after you,
Perfect.
and then we'll end it there.
Okay. Thanks, Kev, for telling everybody that.
Yeah.
Kev,
What
this
do
is
you
one
got
I've
for
been
me?
meaning to talk to you about for a long
Yeah,
time. In fact, I
yeah.
put it on the show sheet for a while.
Yeah.
What's the best uniform in Seattle sports right now?
The Seahawks retros, man.
Oh, I think we need to talk through the contenders first before you jump in. I should have set that up better.
Yeah.
Okay, who do you think the contenders are before we say Seahawks retros? 'Cause
Okay.
I think you might be right, but let's talk about the
Um,
contenders.
All right. Well,
Are there any?
magically,
Let's go through each one. So, are there any Mariner uniforms you're like absolutely love them?
dude, they kept on winning in the City Connects near the end of the season. Now, are they? No, I don't think they're in the conversation. I don't think the City Connects are actually good.
I like the
I
City Connects. I think people are so distracted by the black pants. I think the tops are sweet.
I try to think of like how would I look in the
You would look
City?
good in a City Connect top.
Would you?
Felix has one. It looks good on everybody. If you go to a Mariners game and you see people in the City Connect jerseys around the park, they're the best one.
Yeah, but none of them are wearing the black pants. That's the
Exactly.
issue.
That is the issue.
Yeah. So
Now the tricky part, right, from a PR standpoint, is the black pants are a nod to I think it's an
Negro Leagues.
old Negro League team
Yeah.
that was in Seattle for 8 months, which is also kind of like,
weird.
yeah, come on, guys. But that's part of the black pants. And so
Yeah.
you take away that story and you go to white pants. That's not a good PR
Yeah.
move.
Yeah.
So they kind of screwed that up from the beginning because they just doesn't look as good. It's too contrasting, right? Is that the right? I don't know if it's
Yeah.
contrasting or no, they're too similar. They don't contrast enough.
Yeah.
right? The blue and the
Um,
black.
I like the cream colored Mariner uniforms.
Okay.
No?
I mean, they're fine.
Yeah. So
They're not in the contention. You're right. You're right. There's no Mariner uniform in
yeah, I
contention.
mean because then the other options are like the teal ones, which you like,
I'm pro teal, and no one else is with me, but I'm pro teal.
and they wear the navies, and then
Navies are boring.
they
The
have their whites.
lettering in the navy sucks. The
Yeah.
white sucks. What about a retro Mariners jersey? Not worn now, but like a 1977, 79, 85. Any of those do it for you? No,
No,
nothing.
no, they're
Okay.
just
All right, we're
boring
out on the
retro.
Mariners.
Yep.
All right, all right. Obviously, none of the other Seahawks jerseys other than the retros right now are in
Yeah, I
contention.
think the navy blue ones have to be. I think they need to change them.
I
I
think
think.
the ones they have now, the navy blue is the second best ones they've ever had behind the retros.
Oh yeah, yeah, I agree with that.
Because
I
they had a
just.
terrible metallic like blue, the Matt Hasselbeck time.
Oh yeah, that one was bad.
Those ones, like I have a Hasselbeck jersey and it doesn't pop. It's the same like metallic color the Eagles still wear for the green, which is dumb. The Eagles should abandon it and they should go back to their Kelly green uniforms. And Tampa Bay should wear the creamsicles all the time. We should just go back to all the old uniforms.
We had a
Sonics.
podcast first just right now.
Oh yeah.
JJ woke up during the podcast.
Because of you.
I don't know. Uh,
What does JJ have any Seattle sports gear?
he has all Seattle sports gear, but here's the issue.
Yep.
Okay, so me and Christine made a bet during the
Christine and
49ers.
I. Christine and I. Come on.
You're still being a teacher. Christine and I made a bet during the Seahawks 49ers. She's like, what do you want to bet? I was like, if the Seahawks beat the Niners, he can't wear his 49ers onesies anymore because he has Seahawks
Ooh.
onesies too. Unfortunately, the
Yeah.
Seahawks lost. So it means he has to wear the 49ers onesies all the way through until the next game where hopefully the
This is
Seahawks.
rough. This is hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot on the line. He's smiling now, so I'm out of
That's
the
awesome.
doghouse. Okay. Sonics.
I
You
mean,
know,
this is not current, obviously, but
yeah.
Sonics, like, what's your favorite Sonics jersey?
I like the 90s ones with like the little like the Space Needle and the little like circle around it in the basketball. Like
What are you talking about?
the logo. The
Yeah, that's the
green.
logo, but not the
Yeah.
jersey. The
Well, yeah,
jersey.
I liked the forest green.
Did you like the
Like
brick red ones that they were in the 90s?
I just think of Patrick Ewing when I see
Yeah, it's
those.
gross.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. But I do like and I actually think like what they eventually settled on in the when the franchise
Yeah,
was last in existence. I
they were
like those
fine.
jerseys.
I
They
like
were
the
okay.
old school. Like if you go look at an old Lenny Wilkens picture like we did when we did top
But they're
100,
like yellow.
yellow and no, not the yellow ones, the white ones, and it's like a cursive Sonics or
Yes. Yeah.
like I like those simple old school.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah.
All right, so here's the big thing. If you take all the current jerseys, I think the Sounders are your closest bet to beating a Seahawks retro.
The bright green?
Um, the ones they have now, the green with the blue shorts, to me are top notch. They're so good, and some people hate them because they're striped and they're old school looking. But the color combo of the rave green or whatever they have
Yeah.
now, and it's a lighter green than they've had. They had a real ugly green for a while with the blue shorts. Is just it's beautiful to me.
Yeah.
But
And
it's got to be together. You can't have them separate. The jersey
yeah.
looks dumb by itself.
The Storm have had the worst jerseys, and that's not some of it's not the
I
Storm's
don't
fault,
know. The black,
dude. But the
no. The
ads,
black
oh
ones, I have a Sue Bird one upstairs.
yeah,
The black one that they wore a couple years ago, not the ones they have now that have like the lightning on it and stuff. They were black and gray. They had like no green or yellow on them. They are fire.
okay,
So I'm putting those in the equation for number two, along with current Sounders. I think the Bruce Lee kit for the Sounders is solid, but I think the Sounders have had some old ones. They had a cyan blue top that was sweet. They had a black with electric yellow that was sweet.
yeah,
I feel like I need to share my screen with you. I don't think you know
yeah.
how good these Sounders uniforms were, Kev.
Yeah.
I think you're ignoring me. In
Well,
fact, you're
what? No,
so
no, no,
bored of my
no, no, no,
conversation.
no, no. While you're saying that, I have,
Are you looking him up?
no, no, no. I have Jonah Coleman's
Yeah.
headshot, and he's wearing his purple jersey, and all I can think of is like how classic the purple jersey with the gold pants are. But I don't want to bring
I
calls.
don't think they're in the equation to me.
Really, I just think they're so classic, and it's really hard to screw that jersey up.
Yeah, I think you're clouded
I'm
by
biased. I'm
the Husky,
biased. Yeah,
I
I'm
mean, I'm
biased.
not like, by the way, the Sounders play a playoff game tomorrow, Kev.
Yeah,
And I was going to ask you a question after. I'll show you the Sounders jerseys at a different time. We're agreeing
yeah,
this the Seahawks retros are number one, right?
yep. Here's my question for you. Huskies are 4-4. They got hosting USC, then they go at Penn State, then they host UCLA, and then they go at Oregon. The back end of the schedule, the travel is actually not that bad. Two games and then two home games and a game at Oregon. Um, what's their record at the end of the year?
5-7.
5-7, so one game short of a
They're
bowl.
gonna win one more game the rest of the year, sadly.
They either beat UCLA or USC, I'm
Yep.
guessing. Okay.
Yep. And if they
Um,
beat USC, which one's first? USC.
USC's this week.
Yeah. So if they win this game, everyone's gonna be hyped again. Then they're gonna feel they're gonna lose to UCLA when everyone's all excited. Although they're both at home and they do have a crazy winning streak at home. But I'm gonna go 5-7. I think they're gonna win one more game,
Yeah.
and
I'm
it's gonna be sad.
optimistic, so I think they're going to win two more games and get a bowl, which is crazy because if you get in a bowl game, that's a whole nother month of practice. Like,
Kevin, I'm sharing a request. Allow me to share my screen.
wow.
You keep going. I'm just gonna show you some Sounders
Yeah.
jerseys. There's some sweet ones,
Um,
Kev. I wish this was a video podcast right now.
dude. Oh yeah, okay.
There's some good ones on
Oh,
here.
I like the navy blue one.
Yeah, the navy blue like ocean one is
Yeah.
solid.
And the Bruce Lee
Uh
one is the red one, the
yeah,
red
the
and
Bruce
black.
Lee's solid. I gotta
Yeah.
find the black. They had a black and pink one that wasn't great. This Zulily
R.I.P.
one,
Zoo Lily.
this
R.I.P.
one right here. You see this one?
Yeah, that one's pretty
Black. That's
sweet
solid. Black with it's like fluorescent yellow.
with the Xbox. Yeah.
Yep. Look at
Yeah.
this. Sounders FC on Twitter. 2 years ago, Pitch Black was voted the best kit in MLS history. So come on, Sounders.
Yeah. I
Look
like
at
it.
these random retro ones with the actual Sounder whale on it. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Sounders as a franchise, for sure, to me, are the best history of uniforms.
Yeah.
So there you go. Huskies have screwed up a lot of times when they went all purple and stuff. Oof, gross.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, they haven't worn their black uniforms. Maybe I can't remember when the last
I don't
time
mind
they
the
wore
black. I know purists don't like it,
Yeah.
but
It
I
looks
don't
cool
mind it.
on TV. Like
Yeah.
Texas A&M was wearing all black. Christine made a comment of who did she see? Like the Niners have black unis. Like they don't look bad.
Yeah. The Bengals were all white
Oh,
today.
that's who. She saw the Bengals. She's
I
like,
didn't like that
you
one.
don't like it. Ugh.
Christine's into it.
Yeah, she liked it.
My dad said it looked like stormtroopers. So that's when I knew he was doing better. um, all right. So we agree though.
Yeah.
That do you think the Huskies are winning one more game in their purple and gold?
Yeah.
Or are you gonna give them two
I'm giving
and make
them
a bowl?
two. I think I'm optimistic. I'm always gonna say two.
So they're gonna
So
make a bowl.
they're gonna make a bowl game. Which bowl game? I don't know. Maybe the Holiday
If they're
Bowl.
6-6, who cares?
Yeah.
Although they're in the Big Ten, so they'll probably be in a better bowl than you would think at 6 and
Yeah.
6.
Yeah. Um.
Okay, here's my question for you. Sounders have a playoff game tomorrow.
Yes.
They just gave Brian Schmetzer an extension. Is that a good idea?
Before the playoff game.
I mean, and this isn't related to the playoff game. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to preview the fact that they have a playoff game tomorrow.
I think it's absolutely a great idea. I think he's the best coach in the city right now,
Yeah, we said that.
which we said.
Heard
I
it here.
think-
Heard it here
Yeah.
first, folks.
He has proven he can coach. Obviously, they make the playoffs seemingly like every year. The only thing that I don't think he's good at, and maybe it's just organizationally a thing, there's not really a buzz about about the
Mm,
Sounders.
mm-mm. I don't think it's
It,
his fault.
yeah, and maybe it's just because football dominates the city, but
You know what my
American
theory is
football,
on this? This is
yeah,
probably most people won't agree with.
yeah,
I think it's the Kraken. And I don't, it's not because the Kraken have a buzz. It's because people have limited sports dollars, and I do think it gets stretched. The Sounders are fine. They have this the second highest attendance still per game,
yeah,
but it's down, whereas everybody else is up. They seem to be
yeah,
going down. I gave up my season tickets about a year ago. Um, there's just more competition, and I don't know how much soccer hockey crossover there is, but I know there's a lot of people like me who like to go to live sports and go to stuff
yeah.
and watch all the sports. And that sounds like really intelligent. Watch
Well,
all
they
the
need
sports.
like, I mean, there was a Clint Dempsey bump, right? Like he was an exciting player. There was buzz,
I agree with
but
you
like
there.
you
They
were just
need buzz.
saying, like
Yes, they don't have buzz.
yeah, they're the tweet that I sent you
Hmm.
basically said that Sounders attendance is sliding towards sub 30,000 numbers. Um, like there's pressure in the offseason to make a splash. I don't know. Like this is another topic for another day, but like, is a splash possible? Like,
I mean, it's possible. It just
like,
won't. It's not
and
going
when
to
I
be a
say
splash that
splash,
you know.
yeah,
Like,
it has to be
but in
like
the
someone
soccer
from
community, it
like
might
and
be a
then
splash.
yeah, it has to be someone from international like
Yeah,
of international claim, right? To create the splash.
that's where Clint Dempsey was great for attendance. Is
Yeah.
that he was at the top of his game as an American soccer player, and he was the most well known. Him and Landon Donovan, right? The most
Yeah.
well known.
Yeah.
So they're not going to get that again.
And they're not going to get messy. So,
No, like Miami got Messi, and even LA teams are getting well known players who people have seen in the World Cup. We're gonna get some guy that's gonna be like, no, he's really awesome in the Uruguayan second league. He's really good, and like soccer people are gonna nerd out, and you and me are gonna be like, okay, I couldn't
that's
find his
not enough.
YouTube.
Yeah, no
Yeah, it's not gonna
splash.
make me go get tickets. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, not gonna work. But I agree, it was a right time to give him an extension, so that was good.
Yeah.
All right, let me give you one more bonus before we go to top five. Okay,
Yeah.
was it a good idea for the Indiana Fever to fire their coach today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No. I was saying,
Oh,
yeah, I
you were
saw
like
that.
surprised, like, whoa. Yeah.
No, because that coach definitely turned things around and got Caitlin Clark in a position to succeed.
Yeah, they
And
were
they
playing really good
made the
basketball.
playoffs.
They played
Like
really good basketball the second half of the year.
they arguably maybe were better than the Storm. I think they
Hmm.
beat the Storm
I think
multiple
if
times
they
down
played
the
the Storm in a
stretch.
series, the Fever were going to win.
Yeah. There were
Yeah.
a lot of head coach firings this offseason in the WNBA. There were
Yeah.
like a
The
couple.
timing of the Fever one happening today made me feel like they're going to get somebody big to coach.
Hmm.
Like, you don't do that unless you have someone lined up,
Yep.
because otherwise you would have done it 2 weeks ago. I mean, maybe it doesn't matter. But other franchises have fired like the Sparks fired Kurt Miller, their coach,
Yeah.
like right when the season ended.
Oh.
I'm boring you. So
No.
so the Fever, I don't know if they're gonna get. So there's rumors that Connecticut Suns coach, I think is her name, Stephanie White, I think is her name, might not be coming back, and maybe somebody else is gonna poach her. And I wonder if that's the Fever. You heard it here first on the Seatown Sports Wait for It Seattle podcast. Your latest news on the Indiana Fever. That I don't know if it's true. I'm just making it up as I go along. But I need the Storm to make a splash also, Kev, because
Why?
the Fever are coming and the Storm are boring. Fever are coming. They're going to be better. The Sparks are going to be better. And the Storm are just blah. Another season of Jewel Lloyd shooting 28% from three. Great.
I'm looking at my Jewel Lloyd, one of the ugliest yellow jerseys that I have.
Oh, speaking of jerseys, Storm. Yeah, didn't. I'm telling you, though, the black one,
Yeah.
it's good. You don't even know what I'm talking about, but it's
I,
good.
I need to look at it. I need to look it up.
All right. You got top five?
You know what? I don't.
What?
I didn't prep a top five.
You're such a loser, Kev.
I was, I interviewed our guest who will have a different Well, I'm we'll release a different episode of our guest, but that's what I was focused on. So I don't have a top five. It's gonna be
All right.
one-sided.
I got a top five for you.
All right.
We'll go one-sided this time.
Yeah.
This is a weird one. Decided to go off script a little bit. Kev, I want you. ESPN ranked the top NBA arenas,
Oh, yeah. I like
and
it.
I want you to try and guess the top five NBA arenas
Barclays
according to
Center.
ESPN for this year.
Barclays Center. Top
You've
five.
already lost. No,
I
no.
get two. I get two
Yeah,
strikes.
I know. I know. It's giving you a hard time. You
Uh,
should be able to get, I would say, at least two of these if you really slow down and think about it.
Crypto. Oh, no.
What's
The new Clippers one. The new Clippers one.
so that one's not in there, but I'm not going to give you a strike for that because I think people just don't know enough about it yet. It doesn't
Okay.
seem right. This ESPN ranking, I'm like scrolling to find it and it's not.
Madison Square Garden.
Okay, number two. There you go.
Um, what is the Boston one called?
TD Center, yes, number four.
Okay.
Nice job. Yeah, they didn't rank the Clippers one, so that's why I'm not giving you a strike. They said to be determined.
Yeah. I want to say where the Lakers play.
That's crypto.
Crypto. Yeah.
That is incorrect.
Okay.
That was ranked number 9.
Okay.
There's one you should get, but I don't know if you'll agree. It's right by you, or it's closest to you.
Really? Chase Center?
Yeah, I know, right? Like people, it's weird that they ranked it number 3 because all I've ever heard is people pissed that they left Oakland and
It's
it was better.
nice.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I've been there a couple times. The weird thing about the Chase Center is like it blends in. It's right near USF, the
Hmm.
medical school, and it just blends in and it looks kind of meh. So yeah, that's how I feel about Chase Center. And then
I
I
like
went
to go
in
to
and
it. I
it's
like to
like
go to it, but it
it's
seems expensive.
nice.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's expensive. And the last time I was there, I went to go see it was not Daddy Yankee,
Oh, okay. I did not know we were going in this direction.
it was a reggaeton rap concert, and I can't remember which one it was. Daddy Yankee was at SAP Center.
There's so many things about what you just said that I need to jump on. One is like in a very serious voice. You were like, it wasn't Daddy Yankee. Like, what? You went to see Daddy Yankee?
Yeah, I went to go see Daddy
Kev, you're
Yankee.
amazing. All right. Number 5 is Toronto, the
Mm,
Scotia Center, which sure, I don't know.
I mean, it gets wild there, right? So that's
When
probably
they're good, they're awful.
yeah.
And then number 1, Sacramento.
What?
Yeah, baby. Number 1, ESPN's NBA arena rank. They have
Ah,
great fans. They have Light the Beam, which is super cool.
yeah,
Which is just a made up thing
yeah,
that they started doing after they won games. This is what they say. This is interesting because I want you to think about Climate Pledge for a second as
yeah.
our way to close today.
Yep.
So Arco is gone, which was the old Sacramento. When I watched the Sonics play them, um, they're top 5 in all 4 categories that they have. Number 1 in accessibility and location. So that's part of
Mm,
their ranking.
yeah,
They have local restaurants and breweries, 90% of their ingredients within a 150-mile radius. They have a coffee bar. They have a fan base nicknamed the Cowbell Kingdom, which is pretty awesome. And then the iconic Purple Beam. So all the things that they rank things, these arenas on, which is accessibility and food, concessions, fan experience. Sacramento just does a really good job.
yeah.
But
Well,
here's the thing. Nobody's going to Sacramento to go to an NBA game.
and accessibility, I mean, like that's important. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's why crypto got knocked down. I mean, what's accessible in LA? Like it's
Yeah,
always impossible and frustrating experience.
that's true. Did you hear
Um,
about Friday night in LA?
I saw,
Did you
uh,
see? So it was USC Rutgers at 8 o'clock, right?
yeah,
The Lakers are playing against
yeah,
the Kings. Mater Day was playing maybe Bosco in a huge football game at SoFi,
yeah,
which I was explaining to my son Lincoln, who's an 8th grader, and looking at high schools, blah blah
yeah,
blah. And I was like, Mater Day has like 4,000 students, and he like
yeah,
didn't really know what that meant. I'm like, well, it's bigger than Santa Clara University.
Yeah.
He's like, it's a high school. I'm like, yeah, they played at the Rams football stadium for this game. And then there was Dodgers Yankees World Series game one, which was one of the coolest baseball games I've seen. And there was at least one concert all in LA. So talk about getting around. Nobody's getting anywhere. And Lincoln Riley's quote was awesome. He said, Friday nights are fine to play football games. Just don't play them in LA. Send us on the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Um, I gotta tell you something. One
oh,
of
I'm
our
excited.
listeners, Woody Lou,
Yeah.
his
Is excited
dad.
about
Yeah,
Daddy
yeah,
Yankee.
yeah. No, 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 no.
Oh,
His dad, Doan Lou, Shadow Doan, in 2018 in LA, attended all 5 pro home games, and it was around this time in October. Um, and they went and they used, and he works for the city, for the mayor's office at this point. So they were trying to promote like LA tourism and transportation. So they dubbed it the Sports Equinox.
yeah. Well, yeah.
So he went,
He didn't dub it. This is something that's been going on for
yeah.
years.
So he went to um, LA Kings, LA Rams, LA Galaxy, LA Dodgers, and LA Lakers all in one day.
That's awesome.
And they were trailed by none other than Lance Bass of the boy band NSYNC. And he also they you gotta ask Woody about this. It was
I'm 100% asking Woody about this.
there was press about this. They were on TV. They were like hustling on scooters. It was great.
Kev, this is a
Like,
great segue because
yeah.
do you know what tomorrow is?
Daylight savings. I have
It's
no
the
idea.
sports equinox.
Oh, there's all 5 games on.
The sports equinox is a little different than you described.
Yeah.
That was in typical LA fashion. That was an LA version where they just changed it for their own purposes. Okay, the sports equinox, if you Google it, is when they're in the same day you have NFL games, NHL, MLB, and NBA. There's only one day of the year where all four are playing on the same day
Yeah.
because it's got to be October, right? Because
Yeah.
NHL has started, NBA has started, NFL's going on, but it's got to be right a Monday night
Yeah.
or a Sunday.
Hmm.
And MLB, the World Series Game 3 is happening. So it's
Yeah.
all tomorrow. So it's a great segue and it also leads us to our very last question of the night that we'll finish with.
Yeah.
You asked me this, and I'm going to spin it back on you. Will Seattle have the sports equinox? And will LeBron James ever play against the Seattle Supersonics?
Oh, that's a great question.
Well, you wrote it, Kevin. So
Yeah.
you're like, it's a great question. Daddy Yankee would be so proud.
Um. Uh. Will LeBron James ever play the Sonics? Well, we said the Sonics are coming 2027.
27, 28. So I'm going to go no.
No. Yeah, I think he's gonna be like
But
his
are we
knees
getting the
will
Sonics?
finally fall apart. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll get the Sonics. The
So
better
for us
question.
to have
Yeah.
the sports equinox,
Yeah.
that means we're going to have Monday Night Football where the Seahawks are playing
Yeah.
road or home. The Kraken and Sonics. So one of them has to be on the road, one has to be home.
Yeah.
And the Mariners would have to be in the World Series.
If this happens, if we see this happening, it'll probably be with like a week. Maybe we'll have 2 weeks notice that this was gonna happen.
Yep.
Because the Mariners will have to be in the World Series, right?
Yep.
We're in Seattle. We got to do it, dude.
Well, we can't go to all of them, Kev. I already told you this. The Kraken and the Sonics are not going to play in the same arena. I mean, they are, so they can't be both at home. They'd have to be on the road.
So it'd have to be like we'd have to X one of them, right? But I
I'm
think,
saying they could all be playing in the same day. We could watch all of them.
yeah,
But I'd probably die the day after because my life would be complete.
that totally went another way. Like,
Well, thanks for listening.
thanks for listening. That's a Wait for Seattle episode 20. Again, if you listen to us and you haven't told us, please tell us.
Who knows what the Devin Witherspoon episode will be like next week?
Yeah, we'll see you next week.